The final commitment last night to accepting a treatment plan, a compensation plan for the victims of infected blood, which is an amendment to the Victims and Prisoners Bill, will go ahead, but only if, as Earl Howe points out, only if Parliament is not dissolved or adjourned. Within 3 months, people will have a system for being repaid. But after so many years, this is going back to the 1970s, 30,000 NHS patients who were given contaminated blood because they were having blood transfusions or because they were haemophiliacs. And 3,000 people have died. So many relatives are left without parents, without siblings, simply because the government was trying to save money by buying second-rate blood plasma from America. And the government has already said there's a moral case for compensating victims. It's committed to an interim payment of £100,000 each to 4,000 surviving victims and bereaved partners, but it hasn't happened. And it's all again about the difference between rhetoric and reality. And we see the same thing with Windrush, we see the same thing with the Post Office, we see the same thing with Andrew Malkinson, and we see the same thing with Ukraine. The government commits to doing something, it accepts as an issue, and then it doesn't actually act. In April 23, Sir Brian Longstaff called for a full compensation scheme to be set up immediately, and yet we're now a year later, and only now are we getting the rhetoric that says, yes, let's do it. It's heartless and it's thoughtless, and I suppose now the government wants a pat on the back. It really needs a kick up the backside. This is dilatory, and it's insulting, and it's more of the penny pinching nonsense. But it doesn't, it's not penny pinching when it's trying to pay MPs or when it's trying to pay their friends with these PIP things. PIP. I'm now getting confused with the PIP, with the PIP form you've got to fill in, and the and the medical costumes that people wear and that were and that lay behind the Baroness Moon scandal. If there's plenty of money to pay these twits, then there should be enough money to pay people who've been so badly hurt by the stupidity of authority in Britain and, frankly, around the world. When it comes to putting their hands in pockets, the authority figures seem very reluctant to do more than mumble some sort of contrition and then get on with their arrogant self-service.